All right, today what we're going to talk about is quadratic regression in applications, but with a calculator. Also, I'm going to show you Desmos. So first off, quadratic regression is a process of finding a function that best fits a set of data. So you've done linear regression before. This is quadratic. So how you enter it in on the calculator is very similar to how you would do linear regression. So what you're going to do is you're going to press stat, and then you're going to input your data into the L1 and L2 list, and I'm going to show you in a second. Press enter after each number. Then we'll go second quit to go back to the home screen. Then you're going to hit stat again, but you're going to go to calc, and you're going to go to option 5, which is quadratic regression. So you'll see the equation there, so it'll say like this, ax squared plus bx plus c. Use the arrows to go to calculate and then press enter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these points right here, and notice it says L1 and L2 on your graphing calculator. So I'm going to show you, oops, wrong one. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit stat, and it's going to go to edit. Once I hit edit, I'm going to press enter. Now if you notice, I have my points 7, 15, 5, 19, 8, 14, 10, 18, 18, 13, 25. So that's all my points. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go back, and you can either hit stat calc from here, or it said to go back to the main, so that's what I'm going to do, and go stat, but now we're going to go over to where it says calc. So it's the middle option. And you're going to scroll down, or you can just type in number 5, because if you notice, number 4 is linear regression, that's what you've done before. But number 5 is quadratic regression, which is what you want. So you're going to either type in 5, or you're going to highlight it and then press enter. And you're going to press enter one more time, or until you have a bunch of numbers pop up on your screen. So once you've got those numbers that pop up on your screen, you have your equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. You have your a, which is your value for a, b is your middle term for, and then c is your c term. And then you have your regression equation there, okay? So you can go back and go second quit, and that'll take you back, or stat, edit, and enter in more points. Now, if you do need to clear any points on your calculator, when you go to stat, edit, press enter. If you arrow up to the top column where it says L1 or L2, and you go clear, enter, it will clear the whole column for you on your calculator. So then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go clear, and then it should still have L1, L2, so clear, enter on your calculators, and that way you're ready to go with another set of points. So if you were to look on example 1, right here, if you do it correctly, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to enter these points into my calculator. If you do it correctly, you should have something that pulls up similar to this. So let's go ahead. So remember, I'm going to go, okay, there we go. All right, so I did stat, edit, press enter, and then I'm going to go 5, enter, 0, enter, 4, enter. And then I'm going to go to L2, and I'm going to go 9, enter. Make sure you use the negative button, not the minus button, for negative 16, enter, 0, enter. Okay, I've got my points, so now I'm going to go stat, calc, and I'm going to go to option 5. Press enter until your information pops up, and there you go. So this one, it already rounded as b to 0, but you might get a really, really, really long number in that scientific notation, and that just rounded to 0 for you. So now that you've got that, now you can actually write this as an equation with those values. So this, it gave us 0 because I think I already have it pre-rounded on my calculator, but this is just telling us this is scientific notation. So really this has a bunch of zeros in front of it, 11 zeros. So this is a very small number, so that's why we're saying it's close to 0. So anyways, I took the A, I took the C, and I wrote those because A is 1 and this is C value. All right, I want you to go ahead and you're going to try that on the calculator. And if you do it correctly, you should get y equals negative 0.02x squared plus 2.01x minus 20.45. All right. Now on this next one, you can also find vertex in zeros. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the y equals, you're going to go to calc on the top row, and then you're going to select either minimum or maximum depending on your equation. And then you're going to use the arrows and press enter to where you think your minimum or maximum is going to be. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's look here. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to hit the y equals, so it's the very top. And it looks like I already did okay, yeah, so I did number 1 for you, where I entered in the equation. So right below the mode button, you'll see it says xt theta n. So you can actually use that for your variables. And I just entered in the equation. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to calc, which for me, I have to hit second trace, and calc's going to show up. And then you've got minimum, maximum. So in my case, I would have a minimum because it opens up. So I'm going to hit minimum, and there's my graph there. So if you can, I know it's kind of small, but you can see like a very thin red line. And then I'm just going to go through, and you can, hit your arrow or press enter. So there's an x-intercept. So we're going to kind of use that to move along. Oops. This is not doing what I want it to do. Okay, there it goes. There we go. So I'm just kind of hitting the arrow to where it needs to be. And then there it goes. It breaks. And so once I've got this little blue dot lining up with the vertex, then you just press enter. And it will pop up as you look here. It says the vertex is 2.5 and then negative 2.25. So that's your vertex for your point. And then you can go back out. So you can go y calc. Oops. And I can do the zeros and kind of do the same thing where you just arrow over to where your zeros are and press enter once you get to about there. And then once you press enter, it's going to tell you your 0 is at 4, 0. And then you can kind of arrow over to the other 0 and then press enter, and it'll tell you your other 0 is at 1. So that's using the calculator. And then another thing, so that's what I did here. Check yourself with the calculator for this one. I gave you these answers. So your vertex should be -5, -2. And then for your zeros, it's going to give you a decimal, but it's go ahead. So go ahead, try that on your own. And then I want you to try these with the calculator. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to show you with Desmos. You can do these with Desmos or you can do with the calculator. So whichever works, I'm going to show you guys Desmos. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter in this equation on Desmos, and then we're going to answer some of the information. All right, so for this, I entered in the equation. I used x instead of t, but as long as it's x squared and it's in your standard form, you're good. So for this, I don't know why it's being weird. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, it is being weird. Let me close that real quick. All right, now let me go back into Desmos, hopefully. Oops. Okay, there we go. Hopefully it saved it. Yes, it did. Number 5. Okay, much better. Okay, so all I did was I wrote the equation, and then now that I've got the equation, I'm going to go through and you can kind of zoom out and you'll see some important information. So you're going to see the vertex here. That's the vertex. You can scroll down. You can see the y-intercept. x-intercept, which, oops, there you go. All right, so for this, we want to know approximately when will the object be at a height of 50 feet. So what we're looking at is a couple things. We can look right here and here, but what I would do is I would type in y equals 50. And that's going to give you, and I'll change the color there, and that's going to give you your 2 points that you would put for A, which is 0.67 and 4.64 seconds. Then it says, will the object ever reach a height of 120 feet? So you're going to go to the vertex and you're going to look at the height. No, it reaches the maximum of 112.89. So that's the maximum height, which is C. And then D says, at what time does the object reach its maximum height? Well, it'd be 2.66 seconds. And that's your X value. Oops. All right. And then what you're going to do, so it's pretty easy, is all you have to do is just enter in some points. And then you guys know how to do that. So, oops. You're to go here and enter in some points. So let's go ahead and skip to the solving a system of equation. So I want you to go ahead, I want you to enter in your graphs here, and I want you to do all of these using Desmos or your calculator. And then you can go ahead again, use these using Desmos or a calculator. We're going to find the systems. Okay, yeah. So for the system, is you're going to put one equation into y1, one equation into y2. Equations must be solved for y. Press zoom 6 to see each graph and adjust the window necessary. So you'll either zoom in or out to see the points of intersection. So truthfully, what I'm going to do is you can just put those into Desmos and then see where they intersect. So that's one way to do it. Or if you're using a calculator, this is what you can do. But your test will have Desmos, so you need to know, I would probably use that one if you don't have a graphing calculator. But then to find the point of intersection, you just press second trace and then choose intersection and move the blinker. Oops. So like I said, I'd probably use Desmos, but you can go here. So for y, I'm going to go through, I'm going to clear that, and then I'm going to type in -2 x squared minus 3x plus 4. So that's 1, and then I'm going to put my 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. There. So now that I've got those both entered into my calculator, now I'm going to go zoom 6. So zoom is the top middle. So I'm going to go zoom, and you're going to scroll down to 6 where it says Z standard. And then adjust the window, so zoom 0 or zoom 3. So either of those, which will work for you. And then you're going to go through and you're going to figure out which points were going to be your solutions. So like I said, you go ahead, hit to where you think it's going to be, and then press enter. And I got 0.73. Oops. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Oh yeah, I was definitely off. Okay. Okay, so you go ahead and then just finish entering in your information there. And then if you look, that's where your x-intercepts are going to be. Mine's being a little finicky right now. But yes, you can go through and then figure out which points, are working to see where they intersect. So zoom 3. Getting closer. And press enter. There you goes. Alright, so then once you get, that's one of the points, so then you can go through and finish the rest. So really all this is just practice, but truthfully you can go ahead and you can enter in a new graph here where you just do another expression. And then just type in y equals negative 2x squared minus 3x plus 4. And then y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. Alright, and then you can just go to where these two intersect, which would be here, and you see your solutions are here and here. And so that's your information. So truthfully, Desmos is a little bit easier to see than on your calculator, but you can use whichever one works. Alright, and then that would be your answer, or that would be how you do systems of equations on a calculator and on Desmos. Alright, so go ahead and make sure you finish that one, which we just gave you the answer for. And then these are all the directions to here, here, and here for using your graphing calculator. Alright.